Welcome and thank you for attending our lunch and learn session. We'll give people time to settle. We would like to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Chantell Link, who will Dr. Link is our Associate Vice Chancellor and Chief Industry Partnership and Career Advancement Officer. Just a little bit about her background. She's got years of progressive leadership in higher education, focusing on student success, academic affairs, online education, and institutional operations. She aims to strengthen the workforce partnerships and expand career-connected learning and advance initiatives that align with industry needs, preparing students for high-demand careers. She will play a crucial role in aligning educational programs with the evolving needs of the regional and our state economy. So let's give her a warm welcome, Dr. Link.
Thank you. Thank you. And I promise I am not drinking a beer, because when this was handed to me, I was like, wait a minute. And so I promise you, this is water from Montgomery. So thank you for sharing a little bit about me. I will tell you, I wasn't sure what to expect and how many people would be here. And so it's always refreshing to see a number of people interested in hearing what you have to share about your area. The worst thing is to come in and there's 2 or 3 people. So thank you for showing up. I do have a lot to share, and hopefully it will have some time to answer questions. I believe my session is about 45 minutes. But a little bit about me, you heard a little bit a few minutes ago, but I did want to just highlight that I am returning to Lone Star. And so while I've worked in higher ed for a little over 20 years, if I look familiar, it's because I've been here before. And so I previously worked at System Office in the Woodlands, North Harris, Greenspoint Center. And so things have changed just a little bit, but I do feel like I'm back at home, and I'm excited to be here. I see some familiar faces, Marie, Butch. It's so refreshing to see these warm faces. So thank you for being here. So my team, I know everyone is wondering, who in the world is industry partnerships and career advancement? And so we are not workforce and the old, I know we had our workforce development team, and I know that team has changed over the course of the years, but industry partnerships and career advancement actually has two focus points right now, that being economic development. And so we really are a small team. Economic development, and some of you may be familiar with Kay Fitzsimmons. So that area falls up under my umbrella, and then career advancement. And career advancement is I would say, it's somewhat new, because I don't think we've necessarily did career tracking and placement, which is what we are looking at doing moving forward. And so my team, although small, is growing and expanding. And so those are the 2 focus areas: economic development and career advancement. Leadership North Houston also falls under the economic development division, which you probably are aware. So nothing has changed on that side of the house. But what you'll see is a lot of changes happening with career advancement. I also just recently hired a new executive director for future economy. And so you'll see that person starting January 20th. So you'll start seeing a little bit more about our area. But I just wanted to clarify, if you're wondering what is industry partnerships and who are they and what does the team look like, this is who we are right now, present day today, but that could very well change. And so what do? We work to build relationships with industry partners. And I'm proud to say that since I've started, we've had a number of companies and organizations reach out because they want to recruit our students. They want to hire our students. They want to partner with us. They want to train. They want to do all the things that we want our partners to do. But what I'm finding is the biggest challenge is, how do I connect with who? And what does the process look like? Because higher ed is so complex, I don't know what in the world to ask for or how to best partner. And so we'll talk about that as I continue with the presentation. career advancement pathways. We really want to be a little more visible about our career opportunities for our students. We want to showcase the careers more, and we also want to showcase our partners. Our partners are reaching out to recruit our students, and we want to make sure that they know we appreciate them. And so we'll be working to increase the visibility on that side of the house. Experiential learning, apprenticeships, internships, more hands-on opportunities. I can tell you that I've recently started receiving a number of companies reaching out to hire our students. And they're looking for them to get more hands-on experience, and these are paid. And so something that you probably have heard the chancellor say is that we want paid internships for our students. So we're not looking to send students out like it was when I was back in college and we did all the free labor. Those days have changed. And so all of our internships will be paid interns. Talent pipeline development. I actually have a meeting tomorrow with an oil and gas company that is looking to, strengthen our partnership and relationship because they said, we want the talent. And so how can we better partner? And then alumni and employer engagement. You've probably have seen, I'm not sure if maybe you have met with our new alumni associate vice chancellor, Carolyn Donovan, but you'll see more activity happening on the alumni side of the house. And she and I partner very closely together because we want to make sure that we're also sending jobs to our alumni. When I first came, actually in October, I would say it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, we had Foxconn on campus that was recruiting our students, but we sent communication out to our alumni as well. And we had a really nice turnout. And if you don't know who Foxconn is, they are the bigwigs in technology. They manufacture Apple, Samsung, NVIDIA, Emerson, Sharp, pretty much all of the major products. And so that's one partnership that we are really looking to foster. Okay, and so why industry partnerships and career advancement? I will tell you, and part of the reason why I put my experience in the first slide is because I wanted you to see that I worked on the academic side of the house and also the student services side of the house. And I can tell you, I just don't recall having a lot of meetings with industry partners on the academic side and really on the student services side as well. And so things may have changed. Lone Star does, things differently. But I certainly want to make sure that we are fostering that relationship and that we are collaborating more and that you are well informed about what's happening in the industry. And also that I'm hearing from you so that I can make sure that I'm communicating to our industry partners. And so some of the challenges that we're starting to see and we hear is, students are always want to know, and I know I wanted the same question answered is how does my program lead to a career? And so, and also our employees are wanting to know, where is the talent pipeline? And I get that all the time. And so I'm always confused because I'm like, our students are looking for jobs. And we had the industry partners that said, we're looking to hire students, but there's a disconnect that's happening there. And so for our office, we will serve as a hub. And so what I realize is that people just really don't know where to direct students or to direct partners. And so our job is to serve as that central hub. We're in the process of updating our website, and we'll make sure that you, once all of that is together, we'll send that communication out so you'll know where to direct students moving forward. I am going to spend, and I'm going to some time here because I will have some questions for you as well, but this is what employers are telling us. And this is probably not new to you. I can tell you way back when I was here last in 2017, these were some of the things that was coming up from employers, and it still exists today. And so it's one of those things that we have not really solved. We have not solved the problem of what's happening with the soft skills and the power skills and the durable skills. Our employers keep asking for help in this space. The last job that I was with, I can recall being in a meeting, and some of the partners were saying, can you teach the students empathy? Can you teach people how to care? And so the list continues to grow, but for someone who's a licensed therapist as myself, when I'm hearing people ask if you can teach people to actually feel and care, that raises a flag. However, yes, there are ways in which you can do that, and simulation, modeling, and a number of things. But I wanted to just pause here because I know this isn't new, but it's something that we definitely have to tackle because it consistently comes up. And so I did. I put a quote from Dr. Paul LeBlanc, and I will tell you, when I worked for WGU, I ended up transitioning to Southern New Hampshire because of Dr. Paul LeBlanc. I really was interested in his leadership style and how he had grown Southern New Hampshire. And then he ended up leaving to lead some AI initiatives. But he basically said there's a human crisis that we have right now. And so people not able to collaborate and critically think. And these are things that aren't new. I can tell you another partner that I was meeting with said that they were struggling with students being able to, this is an EMS group that we were meeting with. They started struggling with students being able to pass the CPR exam. They couldn't do the compressions. And so I was like, well, they can't do chest compressions. And it was, yeah, they were getting tired or they just didn't have the strength. And so there are a number of things that are coming up that you just never would know unless you were having those conversations with your partners. I didn't know people struggled with CPR and that they couldn't move on because they couldn't do chest compressions. And so it makes you wonder about the activity and the physical activity that's happening in our schools. And so there's some things to be mindful of. And so these conversations are very important. Speaking with partners, speaking with our team, gives you an idea of what's being said in the community. And so these are things that we really should be working to tackle. And I know, LSC Tomball, and there's some campuses across the board are looking at different ways in which these durable skills, I hear people use different terminology in which we can work to enhance those skills. And there were projects that I was working on as well, but we really are, honestly, with it, higher ed way behind in addressing these challenges. And so I want to ask you, with having that information that I just shared in front of you about the soft skills and the power skills, how many of those skills are already being developed in your course, but are never named, practiced intentionally, or assessed? I'm sure most everyone. I mean, I know there are group projects. I know well, what we found towards the end and near graduation, students just really cannot articulate those things. And so when they are being interviewed for jobs and they're asked about how do you work with teams, well, they cannot articulate that because they didn't realize that when I did this group project and this course, and so these are the things that we're looking at to really try to work with our students so that they can verbalize and say, oh yeah, I learned that skill or I had that skill. And also, how can we surface that on students' transcripts and portfolios? How do we give students confidence to be able to speak to those things that they learned? Because I know, it takes a lot of, we work hard. We work hard to ensure that students are learning the things that they need to be successful. But when they cannot clearly articulate what they've learned, then it really, poses a great challenge for them later. And then they become upset and say, well, I got this degree and I can't get a job. But there are things that they have to do as well. And so we have to work on coaching them also. And so my next question is, what if we stopped treating these as soft, power, doable? I don't know what to call them because everywhere I go, people call them different things, and started recognizing these as core academic outcomes that directly affect student success after graduation. So I want to know, how do you feel? How do you feel about that? What if we stopped for a minute and said, hey, these are just core skills that should already be built within the academic content? I'd love to hear some feedback. This is a quiet. That makes me nervous when people are quiet. Okay, then I'm coming to you, Brandon. Okay, there was one. Oh, no, I'm coming to you next, and then, right.
If you have.
Hello, sorry. We're from Westway Park and we have, we're in VisCom. So we have technically it's a workforce program and these are part of our outcomes. our learning outcomes. They have to present, they have to interview, they have to coordinate with each other in groups. So that is part of our base curriculum.
Thank you for sharing that. Are there, I know there was another hand that was raised, but I'm glad to hear that that is already something that is being built, and hopefully that will be across, the board. Oh, she has the mic too to help you.
Okay. So to expand on what she said, I know, and I've worked more closely with dual credit in the past 2 years. And so what I do, because we're really dealing with some emotional intelligence issues, as well as being able to articulate what they've learned in their degree programs. So what I make them do is projects. I have a project-based course curriculum that I put together. And at the end of the semester, there's a semester project. A part of it is to update the resume. We do a Kaggle website or a GitHub website where they can be creative as well as articulate what they've learned in the courses. And I also make them, the seniors that are graduating, I make them do a whole portfolio that includes the update of their resume, as well as to a website, GitHub or Kaggle, where they can actually talk about the courses that they've learned, what they've learned, projects they've worked on, and all of that. And so that's what I do.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm glad to hear that it's happening in our dual credit courses and BizCom and other courses throughout. So that's already happening here. Oh,
We have noticed that in visual communication, the student phenomenon that if your instructor, your teacher is telling you that this is the expectation in the workforce, that it like goes right over their head. It doesn't mean anything.
yeah.
So we started bringing in industry to where they actually have to present like some of their projects and their work to them, where they have to articulate what they've done to somebody else.
Oh, nice.
And then it seems like when it doesn't come from the teacher, it is valuable. But even though it's the same stuff you're saying all semester long, but it just doesn't seem to hold as much weight as it does when it's somebody real who's really out there doing it.
No, I love that. I'm actually taking notes on that. It's almost like parenting, it's just. So yeah, so certainly listening to their peers, listening to people from the industry, and that's something that I will touch on a little later in the presentation as well, about bringing industry partners in to speak to the classes. And I know a lot of instructors already do things like that. And so that's always a plus. And so we'll talk about ways in which we can help support in that space as well. Emotional intelligence, that's definitely presents a challenge for us. And the good news is now we do have our new Senior Associate Vice Chancellor for Mental Health, which I know many of you have met as well, and they're working to expand their team also. But that's something that's really important in ensuring that students are connected to the other resources, and that they have access to counselors and things of that nature to assist them. Is there any other point before I move on to the next? Thank you.
So we've actually pioneered here at Windsor College the OLSA degree, which is the Occupational Life Skill Associate's degree. I'm sure you've heard of it. And we really, our whole program focuses on soft skill development, a lot of the things that you covered in that first slide. And our mindset is always post-graduation employment. And just, I think everybody has access to our course descriptions that the OLSA degree actually has in it. But what's the SLOs that are embedded in it are just phenomenal at meeting a lot of these. Yeah.
Well, I will definitely have to connect with you and you after. But thank you for sharing. All right. So how can we partner with you? And again, I heard one of the, go ahead.
Excuse me, North Harris.
I'm the Cisco coordinator for our area. And what our department is doing now is we we have a cohort, which is awesome for us. We get to have them 3 semesters in a row, 3 sessions, 8 week in a row. So on our last one, we kind of developed a program of not just finishing for certification, but also incorporated job and entrepreneurship. And so when them 3 things came together, you saw their attention got more engaged because now, yeah, you're starting your own business. So what what you need to know as far as the industry we're looking for? And so they made them go out and create within a proposal for your job. If you're gonna start a job, a business, what this looks like. You know, what is the industry that we had them go out and look and research what is needed for the environment and as you're a business owner. And it came in alignment with what companies are providing. So they made them link in. And so I noticed in our class that they really got engaged when it came to that part of our last module. Thanks.
Well, thank you I'm going to have to connect with you to learn more about that. And entrepreneurship, I'm glad you called that out because things look so different now. And when I was in Kansas, serving as a university president at the time, and we were private institution. I can remember being at one of our board meetings and a student coming there who was on a bowling team. And so he started sharing about his experience with the NIL and being in their platform and being able to connect with partners through that platform. And in my mind, I'm thinking bowling, Kansas, Ottawa, Kansas, you know what? And so as he continued to talk, he started sharing that me being in this portal has taught me some really good business skills. He started showing his bowling shoes and how Nike would send him different things so that they could promote these bowling shoes. And I'm listening, and he goes, and from this, he goes, it's not that I'm getting a lot of money, but I get free food. He's like, the whole year, I have not my parents have not had to pay for any food. Groceries and different things that partners were sending my way. And he says, it's really helped me expand my portfolio. And once I finish up, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this from this experience. I'm going to start my own business. I had never thought about that. And I'm like a bowler from Kansas, and so all those things. And so it really opened my eyes to, there are so many opportunities for the students. And I never thought about bowling and cheerleaders and all of those of being able to experience starting their business and getting paid, for doing things like promoting and things of that nature. And so I will tell you that did also spark some ideas for me and how I want to promote our students that enter our career portal, which will be a whole theme once we get our website set up. But we really are looking at how do we promote our students and encourage them to set up profiles once they start school. We want them to start early. And so how do we surface this and how do we showcase and spotlight them? And how do we also spotlight our partners as well? And so I'm excited about what's to come, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But thank you so much for sharing that, because we really do should be really open to the possibilities, because there's so much opportunity. So industry connections and how we partner is that we collaborate. We get outreach often, all the time, from different partners that want to work closely with the college. And so and what our goal is to create a repository where we'll have our partners visible and also have more formal partnerships as well. I'm working through things, and while we have some written, a lot of our agreements are really just kind of verbal. And so I'm working to make them a little more formal, and also have a structure where we have our portfolios and we're following up with these partners, and we're engaging consistently with our partners. Engagement opportunities. The goal is for us to have things stored in a place where we can, if you have instructors that want someone to come and speak to their courses, that we can have a place for you to request that. We do have partners that often say, and tomorrow I'm meeting with a company, and they said, we want to be able to come up and speak. Foxconn said the same thing. How do we do that? We want to be able to come and speak to the students. And so we want to make it easy for them to navigate. Once they ask, I want them to be able to go right away and not, well, let me call and see. And, I don't tell them that, but in my mind, I'm like, oh God, oh my God. Anyway, those are things that we will help to facilitate. Workforce alignment and partnering with you. And so like these conversations here, hearing what you're already doing in the classroom is very helpful. I will also continue to do visits as well, just to see how can we best partner and how can we share with you what's happening in industry so that they can impact what you are doing in your course room, and how you're preparing your assignments and updating curriculum moving forward. And also career readiness for students. We want to make sure that you have and you're comfortable with directing students to this place when students have questions about my career path, career opportunities, career coaching, that we have a space for them to go to. All right, and what does this mean for students? And so we want things to be clear for them. We want them to have a clear pathway. We want them to know that their time and energy and money is going to a great cause and that there is a path forward for them. We want to expose them to the opportunities. I know when I first started college, I was a biology major and I changed to psychology, and I thought I was going to be a clinical psychologist, and I ended up in higher ed. I do counsel and I do teach counseling courses as well, but things changed. And so we certainly want to make sure that students know what the possibilities and opportunities are. And so our office will be helping to have more internships visible and available to our students. Employment access, we want to give them access to the different employers. Right now we do have things in place, but we never really had that full infrastructure for us to really be progressive and really just go out to tell students, hey, come this way. This is where jobs are posted. This is where you can get help. And so right now we're in the space where we are developing that infrastructure so that students can have a place to go to and get responses immediately and also to get feedback. And so those things are in the works, but that is our plan. I've worked with career colleges and it looks so different. And so job placement and tracking and all those things were very necessary. That's not something that we have ever had to do. We still don't, but we will be tracking moving forward. Where are our students going? We want to know. Professional networks. We want to make sure students are connected to the various networks and know what's available. And also confidence. We want to build their confidence so that they can say, I'm getting this degree to get this job. And so that they'll know what opportunities are available. And so those are the goals. And these are the things that I think will really help our students. It will help you as well. And so I'm just looking forward to all the possibilities because there's a lot of work to be done, but it's we're definitely moving forward and moving ahead. All right, so coming soon. And I did talk a little bit about our website, but which really will serve as the hub. And it's, certainly one that we want to be a one-stop shop for students and employers as well. And so if you can envision that career NIL portal, I am a sports fan too. I can't help myself. So if you see some type of theme that surfaces, if it's a football type athletic theme, that's what it is. And so anyway, we will be trying that out to see how students engage. We want to be able to draw students in because oftentimes you'll see a flat, website that has information. It has a lot. And, I can tell you now in my space, I can't look at sites that have a whole bunch of stuff on it. And I think our students are in that space as well because many of them work and they have families and different things and obligations. And so when they go home, they don't want to scrub through lengthy websites. And so we're trying to make sure that things are engaging and easy for them to navigate. We also want to showcase our students. Once they set up their profiles, we want to be able to spotlight them if they are interested. So you'll see a little bit coming there. We'll also be, again, spotlighting our partners on that website. And then the plan is also to showcase or have a quarterly economic forecast. There's so much that's happening. There's so much happening in Houston. I mean, there's 5 Apple manufacturing companies that's coming nearby that's in our service area. And we really don't talk about those things. And these are things that we want our students to know, like what's happening in your area. Houston is booming. And the job projections are still great. They're down just a little bit, but they're still, we're still progressing and moving forward. So we want to excite students and we want people to know, we want our community to know what's happening in this space. And so we will have a quarterly economic forecast so that you can see and know what's happening in your area. And then we'll have a standardized framework because right now it looks different everywhere. I can tell you before I came, I was reaching out to try to find someone to help me with career support and some other things. And it took me a couple of months. I never really got an answer. And so we don't want that to be the case. And I'm just, being transparent. And so we don't want that to be the case. And so we'll certainly make sure that we're creating a framework and providing guidelines and structure. And I want to hear from the campuses as well, because this is a collaborative effort. I worked at the system and campus, and so I understand how important those relationships are. And so I'd certainly welcome feedback, and I want to work, as partners. All right, and I actually moved through this presentation really quickly, but I will pause because I know there are questions for me. And so I am going to stop and see what questions do you have for me and how can I best support you? I see.
While they're thinking of their questions, by the way, this is not a quiet group. Maybe they're, I
can
appreciate
tell,
that
I
they're
can
learning
tell.
because we can get rambunctious, I know.
I don't know, food is heavy. I see some
Yeah,
chips and some
taking it in because we're excited about what you're doing. But I would like to say first, Ronnie is on your team and she is
Yes.
amazing. She does excellent with labor market data. And trust the information that you're getting there. It's very well developed. So thank you. You're building a strong team.
Ronnie
Number
is
two,
excellent.
I don't know if you've met yet with the deans generally, especially for the workforce programs, but they and the curriculum teams manage a lot of advisory committees and I just imagine, I'm sure you would have a lot of historical information that they could share with you to help you as you're developing your services get you a little further faster. So I'll say that.
Thank you.
If the support that you can provide for developing advisory committees is going to be welcomed. Thank you.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I will be meeting with the deans. I believe I'm scheduled for the VP council meeting as well sometime this month. So thank you. I will be reaching out.
To make sure that I'm addressing your question, would you repeat the last question before Amy was chatting with you? You had a question about how you can help us. Is that?
Yes.
Okay. So there are a couple of pain points. Pain points is probably a little more strongly worded. Advisory committee members who are engaged with our faculty, that's in different industries, that's more difficult to come by than others. And of course, a speakers bureau that we can bring into our students so that we have industry members who are talking to the students about not only what the economic outlook in that industry looks like, but also in that particular area and employability skills or job readiness skills. And then, so speaking for workforce programs, employers who are invested enough in Lone Star College that they are willing to contribute to making sure that those programs have updated equipment, access to latest technology. And I know that that kind of flows over into the LSC Foundation, but nobody is everything to everybody. And so having more people contributing towards that would help. Certainly our program directors in workforce programs have their industry contacts in their network, but having some people who would come alongside that, because these folks are also teaching classes in addition to maintaining networks, to addition to advising students. So it gets to be quite a lot on their plate, and it's hard to focus on that piece specifically sometimes.
No, thank you for that feedback. And that is something that we will be, everything that you mentioned are things that are in the works. Certainly having speakers Thank you. Speakers available, advisory committees and councils. That is one of the things that I asked when I first came on board, and it is a priority for me. I can tell you at the previous institution, we met on a regular basis, and that's where I learned about the needs and some of the challenges that they were having with our students. We were able to build a curriculum with some of those partners. And so these are things that are in the works and will happen here as well. And I know there are different advisory committees that are working amongst the campuses, but it's not, and I'll tell you, it's just not in an organized manner, but it exists. And so my goal really is to provide some guidance and some structure and also offer additional support. So we're going to help to bring things, not really necessarily say this is what you do, but we will provide some guidance to help support the campuses, because we are a very large system. And so I find that it does help to have that structure, and I have a repository there. I can tell you, when I came on board, I've just been calling around trying to find things. And for me, that can be really painful. And so I'm trying to build a space where we can also store and be able to access information that pertains to the programs, to partnerships, to speakers, all those things. And that's some of the things that I did at Western Governors University, because we were so big and we were moving and changing every single day. And so it was important for us to be able to have that centralized location, because that was the only way that worked for us with all the change that was happening. And also helping people move around in their roles as well, so you can be able to hand off information.
Dr. Link. So I'm Deb Roberts. I work in a program review, and I also capture advisory committee minutes and membership lists. And we're actually, Tom Robertson, Dean at North Harris, and Warner Bayer, Dean at Sci-Fair, are going to join me for an advisory committee training session at 2. And I hope you guys can come too. I know there have been a lot of questions as of recent about reaching out to industry. So will you be
I'm sorry, reaching out to who?
to industry for some of those
Yes.
new contacts
Mhm.
and, refreshing advisory committees
Mhm.
and making sure that we maintain them and have, obviously adequate representation, but then meaningful representation in folks that are truly committed to Lone Star College and our programs. So would we direct them to your office for assistance with that, or is there
Yes.
some training or something that
Yes.
some of our new folks?
Yes,
participate?
that is preferred. And I will reach out and I'll send communication to everyone about how to do that, because that is one of the things that I'm finding. If you have connects, that is perfect. It always works well if you already have the relationship with someone, but we definitely want to do the legwork on our end. Again, we are small, but we are responding to those partners. And it helps me know who they are. It's also helps us to avoid overlap, because that's the other thing that I'm seeing. We don't want 3 and 4 and 5 and 7 and 10 people reaching out to the same partner. So if you could direct that, direct them to me. I actually have someone starting on board as well who has workforce experience that will help with expediting some of those processes. But that's an excellent question. I'm so glad you asked. And it does remind me to send follow-up communication as well about what that looks like.
Thank you.
Well, first off, I'm so thrilled for you, really. I'm excited for this
Thank you.
position. I think this is something that we've needed for a really long time. And so as an internship manager, you know where my heart is.
Mhm.
And, I believe I've seen the success in our students who are placed at internships, even if they're not hired, right? We like that goal, but that isn't the goal, right? It's to practice those soft skills and refine them. So what I've noticed kind of being in this position for a while is that in our education affiliation agreements, and those are kind of when we make those partnerships, we have those. I've noticed that, and this is not like to say anything about any of our divisions, but I'm sure you've noticed it too, right? And you're new to your position that, like, let's say that the science division, right, they have their contacts,
Mhm.
the nursing, those are theirs. And for another division, they have theirs.
Yes.
And it hasn't really felt like, this unified, like, let's lean on each other and let's
Mhm.
share those contacts. Because yes, like our goal is to, at the end of the day, our goal is to place our students, our Lone Star College students. What does that look like moving forward? And just like we do have a lot of connection with the other campuses, but just maybe here at Montgomery and at our campuses, kind of sharing those contacts to be able to place our students at internships.
Yeah, and that, yes, thank you. You're right on. And it is something that I've seen. We have to organize, and that is what we are working on now, is organize who is connected to what, because I'll use Memorial, for example. There are like 5, 6 different people that say, oh, I work with Memorial on this, or I work with Memorial on that. And I'm thinking like, well, who do I, and so I hear you. And it's so it's certainly something that we are working with on our end, is organizing who are the points of contacts, who at which campus is doing what. Once we bring all of that together, I think surfacing the visibility and who's doing what will help with that. And we'll provide some guidance on how you manage and navigate that, so that we're not confused and we know who's reaching out to whomever. Because I can tell you right now, I don't know who is reaching out to what and when. And so it has been very complex. And so right now it really is a process of, okay, we found out this is a problem. Let's organize it really quickly. Let's build the infrastructure. And all these things are happening at the same time, by the way. I don't have a long time to work on this because I just don't. And so these things are already in the works, and I hear you. So I'm glad. These are great questions because they are things in the works. And so I can't give you a timeline. I'm hoping in maybe by March, all of that will be organized. Right now, we have our website that should be up at the end of this month, as well as, gosh, there are a few other things. I can't think of what our SharePoint site that has some of the guidelines. And so there's a lot of things that are currently in the works, but the website, number one, and so that people will know, where do I go? Who do I direct students to? And then by March, we should have everything organized, which that's not a long way from here. So thank you. I hear you. I feel it as well. I feel it. So while you're sharing it, I feel it on a daily, and it is a pain point, and it's something that's being worked on.
So I know on our campus, we have a department that we're working with that tries to help. And I assume maybe that's what the young woman over there was talking about. So this is new. Is that because I'm slow.
Well, not necessarily. I think not necessarily. I think it will look different. And so there was an office that did house, and I can't say how that office operated, but we did have a workforce development office at system level that had a number of teams under that area. And so, but I think things have changed a little bit. Of course, when you have new leadership, things are going to be different. And I have a different vision on how I want that to look. And so some of the infrastructure, that's being set up will be new. And so, yes, there'll be a lot of newness. But did we have something? Yes, but go ahead.
You asked how you can help us. I guess if we're trying to wrangle this in, because it sounds like everybody's doing something different at every campus.
Absolutely. Yes.
If we're trying to rein this in and have steady partnerships, along with having advisory boards that have the, industry personnel on them for the workforce teams, what do you need from us in order to make that process wrangle in and work?
Yeah. So the responsiveness. And so when I meet with different teams, if you can respond by just sharing, like if there's a partner, if there's a gap, if there's a need, just responding to the ask. And the ask really is, who are those partners that you're working with? And so I'll send it out in a format so that it's not a whole bunch of emails that's just coming my way, but it will be sent out in a format and structured so that I can get your feedback. I will tell you, people have been really receptive and helpful. So whenever I reach out, I've never had any difficulty in getting someone to address a question. But there is a lot of, I really don't know, but I can do this. So anyway, that's what I'm trying to work through as well. So to answer your question, I will send out something to the campuses in a format. And if you can respond. That's really all I need. And I will follow up and say, well, you know, I need more if I need more. So that's all the responsiveness. And I think I have 1 minute.
Hello again. Okay, you saw me scrubbing trying to find the name of the lady that worked in our in North Harris. Now, cause for the life of me, I got the paperwork, but I can't find her name. But she already has something in North Harris that she put together, and it's called the Internship Panel Workshop. And we had a meeting in October, I thought it was at least October 29th, and she brought in Oceaneering, City of Houston, and State Farms. And we sat there and they came in and they spoke to us and talked about internally, gave us a handout and everything. So, like you said, not reinventing the wheel, but she already has connections with these guys. So they came in and gave us the handouts to hit for the students to actually apply for the internships. And when I can show you a copy of this. Oh,
Well, and I will get that from you as well. So, and I do want to just, share that, please, if you have activities and things planned, it doesn't have to go through me. If you have people that you want to invite to your campus, like that's on the campus. At system level, what I am trying to do is just the partners and who we have and who the campuses are working with. I just want to make sure that that's in an organized space so that we don't have multiple people reaching out to those individuals. And so again, there will be direction in what that will look like for us, but I just want to make sure that people know that I'm not saying stop what you're doing right now. Please continue and and there'll be additional communication to follow, but I will follow up with you on that. Well, I think that is it, but thank you. So I thought you were quiet, but you're not. You did these were great questions, and I appreciate you for joining today. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can find me at the Lone Star, Chantell.w.link. Yes, it'll be going out. Thank you. Thank you.